everybody, it's Christelle, Vintage Christelle at YouTube, and Christelle is my shop at Etsy.com. It's Chrystelle. I decided that I'd make a video and I'd give myself a challenge to only use $5, go to the thrift store and see what crafty bits and items that I could come up with that I can use in my crafting and my scrapbooking, my altered art and collage. And I even ended up with some things for cooking and reading. So I wasn't going to go over $5, and I happened to be in another town where there's a Goodwill. I went there, but I also went to the little small one of the thrift shops in our town that's locally owned. So I'll get with showing you what I got and what I'm going to use it for. Well, of course, I'm going to use this for cooking. This was only 95 cents at the Goodwill, and it's one of the 1960s Better Home and Gardens cookbooks, and I really like those. The pictures are great, and sorry for the light. I had to, I'll show you what the deal is today. Here we are in California. That's my neighbor's bushes, and it's snowing and it's freezing. So that's why I have the hot light on, trying to give me some natural daylight. And so it isn't so gloomy, because I'll tell you what, people get seasonal affective disorder in this kind of weather. And I know. I'm not going to complain too much about it being cold here in California, though, because when I was a kid, I lived in Canada, and I know what cold is, and that's smartin' cold. It's freezing. And hi to my Canadian friends, but I'm glad I don't live there right now. Anyway, so in this recipe book, it's really neat because they have some of that Cornish ware on this page, and you know, it's just a regular old cookbook, but it has some really cute stuff. I like the, I marked this page, I like the pies and pastries image. The mom and her daughter cooking a pie, and that's one of my specialties. I also got this book. It's the Penhaligon's Scented Treasury of Verse and Prose. It doesn't seem to have a scent to me, but I've had this book before, and I think I sold it in my Etsy shop, so I was glad to find it again. It has some really neat vintage images and botanical art and old paintings, you know, that are, I think they have several paintings by the masters, and you get the idea. It's Victorian images, and then they talk about, you know, like this daisy is the flower of innocence. It's really a nice book. Nice inside covers and outside covers. So that was 95 cents. Okay, so for 50 cents I got some Punch Studios cards with my initial on it, and that was the only one in there, so it just happened to be there. And then I can use those as thank you notes for my shop, because I really appreciate everybody that shops there, and I always give them extra little gifts and cards and tags and things. This is ribbon that cost me 50 cents for the bag, which was really cool, because I think this was maybe Maillards, and I had run out of that one. And I can always use these on my tags, like I've, I don't know if I have a tag right up here. Well, like I've showed you before on my bulletin board, I put the ribbons at the top of the tags and put a vintage button, so, or put ribbons and lace on the cards. So, for 50 cents, that was a great deal. And there's this jumbo rickrack in there, which I will use this on the bottom of a pillowcase dress. And a couple weeks ago I had my grandniece's birthday, so I took vintage pillowcases and made the twins matching pillowcase dresses, and they are so cute. I can't wait to, maybe I could take pictures of them wearing them and you guys can see. But there's a lot of really pretty stuff in here for 50 cents. So then I got, for 25 cents each, I got this crinkly, kind of, not moire, but satiny, crinkly satiny kind of fabric. And this, for 25 cents, this iridescent piece of fabric, and that was 42 by 18. The other one was 46 by 19. So what I'm going to do with those is, like I had showed you before, which I haven't finished putting the beads on that flower, but you know, I burned my fingers to pieces the other night making the lollipop flowers that my sister had taught me how to make, and she's an expert at it. She has a shop called Pansy Cottage at Etsy, and she makes hair and flower girl hair adornments and all kinds of stuff. Really, you need to visit her shop, and she sells vintage clothing too, so that's fun. I'm sorry about the light. Anyway, one of the things I had gotten was some dominoes that were out of the box and out of the game for 25 cents. But what I do is, and I'll show you what well, let me go over here. What I was going to say about the buttons is that, let me try to move my light a little bit so you can have a little bit more light. Both the dominoes and then this set of vintage, like very pop art, maybe 80s, 70s, 80s kind of earrings. And so what I'm going to do is, of course, alter it to make some jewelry. This one I have plans for, but I wish you could see that better. I'll try to correct the light if I can. But what I wanted to show you was that I had told you before that my mom and my grandmother and my great-grandmother collected buttons. So this is one of the bracelets. Doesn't look really spiffy-doo with my sweatshirt, but I just wanted to put it on to show you that my grandmother made out of her mother-in-law's and her mother's and her buttons. So I can either make a some kind of a charm bracelet out of the earrings and the pieces of jewelry and buttons and stuff, or I'll just put them like, let's see, okay, like here I'm still working on making my card like Roxy from Your Paper Pantry made the other day, and I didn't have the same die cuts as she did, so mine is smaller and it needs something there, so I don't know, I'll either stamp it or put a flower, but what you can do is use your buttons on cards or to make jewelry. So this I got at the store in town for $1, a bag of vintage buttons, and I wish you could see the colors better because they're really pretty, like robin's egg blue and turquoise, and these were still in the portion of the card, and they're really pretty. That look good along the edge of a sewing mini book, and there's these little, don't mind my burnt, I think I burnt my fingerprints off. I guess I can go commit a crime after I made lollipop flowers. Anyway, so there were quite a few really cute little buttons in there, and I can use them, or I'll put them in somebody's gift thing with their order from my shop. So there those, and that was $4.80, and they don't charge tax at the Goodwill, so because it's a non-profit. But anyway, I'll show you a couple other things since I have a little bit more time that I have gotten at the thrift shop lately. And this isn't included in the $5, you know, of course, but this is just the kind of stuff that I find. This is a Boy Scouts of America certificate of registration, so it's a card like they carried in their wallet, but the guys, well, V. Allen Miller, if he's still around, I've got your card, but it's from 1952 to 1953, and I just thought that was so neat, so I maybe can do a guy's kind of a mini book or something. I got this mirror that's from, it still has the label on it. It's from Japan, and it's one of those vintage compact mirrors, you know. Cool. Really cheap. This I think was about 10 cents. It's one of those vintage baking pamphlet books. So I'm going to show you in the next video how I made a vintage recipe mini and used some of the images from back here, Burns and Allen. The Gracie was so funny. And I'm telling my age for sure. So it had a paper clip on there and it's kind of rusted beneath it, so I just left it on there, but it's really cute to copy the images inside and use them in your scrapbooking and mini booking and everything. So, carnations and cookie jar favorites. I got this vintage children's, isn't that cute, from like the 30s, or I don't know, maybe the 40s, or a novelty children's print with little sheep. And I got a pillowcase that has the, I'm not going to remember what that type, it's not chicken scratching and it's not really smocking this way, but maybe somebody will remind me of what it is. Anyway, it has a vintage rickrack with the gold in it. Can't see the shimmer, but there's a pearl on every pleat. There's a little chicken beak. Isn't that cool? And so the back needs a little tiny bit of mending, but that's a lot of work, and it's kind of sad when you see all the grandma's work that they really put in, the mom's work that they really put into stuff, and it comes into the thrift stores, but helps us snap it up and have fun with it. And so here's a piece of 60s like pop art fabric. And also over in my books that I have for sale, I found a vintage cookbook that has Peter Mack's illustrations in it. This color reminded me of that. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff I pick up. That's the kind of stuff I have in my shop. That's the kind of crafts that I make with the things that I find. And hope you like my granny's bracelet. She was a pistol. She always had bracelets like on in all of her rings, but she didn't care too much about her, you know, she'd be in a house coat or something, and she, if we told her to get dressed up, she'd say, I can't wear that, I look like a whipped cream on a horse turd. And she was just a pistol, believe me. Anyway, here we are, sunny California. Hope you had a good time watching the video, and Next one will be a vintage recipe mini. Bye!